Hey guys, welcome back to the GE color roundie restoration project. So picking up right where we left off. I pulled a bunch of tubes and tested them and was surprised to see that they were all GE branded and appeared to be the originals. I just noticed I missed one. And they all tested good. The three I singled out as having shorts or excessive grid leakage, I tried them in a different tester and it showed no problem. So I think it's really just that Sencor tester being extra picky. And thanks for your comments, because there's one thing I totally missed is we don't have a connection going to that. I presume this goes there, and I also presume that's one of the yoke windings. It goes inside this box. And oh no, that's probably the focus voltage. Although no, it's going up there, but it goes. It looks like it goes through a little board that has a control on it, which I think is focus. So I'm not 100% certain this goes there, but I mean the way the wire length goes and the bends on it, it sure looks like it should. Also notice that one of the chassis bolts is already out. So somebody was poking around in this set. I'm actually really curious as to what retired this set. Because it looks like the circuit breaker is defective, which is a showstopper, so why would you even bother messing around with this if that is out? So did that fail since then, or did they just not know what they were doing? I don't know. But as Shango suggested, yeah, I can undo the rest of the bolts, slide this out a little bit, and bypass that or replace it. A viewer a while ago kindly sent me a box full of new old stock, I think, circuit breakers and bell fuses, another common type of protection device from back then. Or yeah, I could just bypass it. The PR57 power right I'm using to power this set has a circuit breaker and a fuse in it, so it will always be protected regardless of how we proceed. Alright, so that's what we're going to be doing in this. One, I'm going to verify where this is supposed to go, and then we're going to slide the chassis out enough so I can poke under there and see what's going on. And no, there is no service panel under this that I can open up to work on this. And that's getting to be a little bit of a pain, not having this in the workshop. So, and no, I did not find an easy way to pull this out without having to disconnect a whole bunch of other things. Alright, so I'm going to take this chassis down into the workshop. It's just too frustrating and awkward to work up here. And once I deciphered the disassembly instructions, actually not too bad. Just a few bolts holding this down, like a couple were missing. And then remove stuff from the control panel. So you got to pull the knobs off and then undo a few screws, and both the UHF and VHF tuners come out, and the little control board down below. And there is a yoke plug in front of this high voltage box, as some of you had mentioned. The one thing holding me up right now is there is a wire soldered directly to the CRT base. I think that's the focus voltage. It's going into the side of this. And if you look on the socket for the CRT, looks a little ugly where that wire used to go here. So that has a few thousand volts on it, which is why they don't use the pin to either side of it. And I've heard that that can be problematic with arcing in the socket or something. I don't know why exactly, but for some reason they pulled the wire out of the socket and soldered it directly to this. So I could either cut it or unsolder it. I figure I'll unsolder it. I'd like to repair the socket or put a new one on there, but you know, if I have to, it's not the end of the world. Alright, so here she is up on the workbench. Now you can see what's going on underneath. Not crazy how the tuner and control panel are hardwired in. It's the only stable place I can rest this chassis on its side is on this end, so I have to put the tuner and the control harness up on something because the wires aren't long enough. Alright, well, I'm glad I did this because, you know, it's not all plastic film caps. I'm pretty darn sure that Bumblebee cap there is a paper cap inside. It's right across the AC line and it's cracked in half. So, That'd be what people call the death cap, which is kind of silly. It's not going to kill you or kill the set, but it may go pop if left plugged in and it starts to heat up. Typically, I just clip those out, at least while I'm starting to work on the set. Absolutely not critical for the set to function. It's just a noise filter. These guys, I'm pretty sure, are the thermistor and voltage dependent resistor for the degaussing coil. Those are suspect because it was unplugged, so we should check those if it's even possible to check them accurately versus just replacing them. And I need to find out what the modern equivalent might be. Alright, let's pan through the rest of this. Let's see, so we got 3 electrolytics there, 1 down here. And power resistors, check those, but the set was obviously kept in a controlled environment. It's sat in a house all this time, like in the living room or something, so we're not seeing any corrosion, we're not seeing any green stuff around any of the parts. I'm not worried about that. I'm just trying to look to see if any work has been done, like joints reworked, parts replaced. Nothing's jumping out at me, which is good. Boards don't look too charred, a little darkened here on this guy, but nothing crazy. So let's start out by going after the thing we've been talking about all this time, which is a circuit breaker. It's way up here. I don't think anybody would be too surprised to hear that it is measuring open. If I play with this, and I'll do that. You watch that. Yeah, I got a comment that somebody sprayed some deoxit in there, kept working and got it to free up. Yeah, I could do that. I also have all these that a viewer sent me. Some are bell fuses, like these, but there are definitely circuit breakers in here. Don't know if any of them are drop-in compatible. This looks similar size, although it's used. I don't know if they make circuit breakers like this anymore. Well, at least this one's good. So push it in, it goes open, let go. Oh, if it gets unstuck. So yeah, this one I think, I don't know. It's in there pretty far. I think maybe it's not popping out like it's supposed to, which would follow what somebody online was saying. Because they seem to, that they can get kind of stuck. I think these would work, would fit. Looks like they have the same type of mounting and everything, so maybe I could use one of these. At least for now. I found one thing that's really handy about taking photos and making videos of these projects is when I review them, I discover things that I don't see with my naked eyes, especially when you get older. You don't always catch everything. Look at that. I think that's maybe why they disconnected the degaussing coil. So what else do I want to do? So yeah, we're going to replace that cap, and then I have to think about that. These are the two power supply rectifiers. I'll test them. I'm going to replace them anyways. These are old school top hat rectifiers. Silicon or germanium, I'm not sure which, but I'll throw in some modern heavy duty ones. I can see this board's a little, it's probably the most discolored of any of them. Wonder if there's the audio output tube on the other side. And I'm going to start hunting down some replacement electrolytic. I'm really glad I pulled the chassis now, as I just found another problem. I've been trying to figure out, are these caps original? Are they paper? Are they plastic? I think these are original because every one of these brown looking caps is the same type. I find it hard to imagine that they would have all been replaced at the same time with the same type of part. But check this out. They never soldered this. There's a choke going there and a capacitor and I think a wire, and they didn't solder that eyelet. So it probably worked at some point, cause just from friction holding the wiring together, but yeah, obviously that needs to be addressed. So are these caps paper or plastic? I'm not sure. They say 600 working volts EM. I can look up what an EM is. Maybe I can find some old ads or something. And regardless, do I want to replace them, even if they are plastic film? Maybe. Well, since this one's already an open joint, I can lift one leg out and we can check for leakage. That we can do for sure. Now it's tempting, well, while I've got it open while I'm there, I might as well just replace everything, but probably, if they're plastic film, they're probably fine. Well, using some deoxit and working that circuit breaker a bunch of times does seem to have fixed it. So if I push it in, it goes open. If I let go, and the more I do it, the lower that reading goes. It's 6 ohms now, down to 5.7. So I'm inclined to think that this just oxidized from years of disuse, and this isn't what took the set out. So I think we're okay on that front. So I'm going to deal with the other stuff. Let's jump back and look at the schematic for a bit. I did spot check a few of those, what I suspect are plastic film caps. They all test fine. Spot checked a bunch of resistors. They're all fine. The only thing I checked that was bad was this guy. Very leaky, clipped out of the circuit. Now, what I want to focus on is this. This is an optional part, the degaussing coil. And see this X here? It means when you have the dashed line thing, this circuit is broken here. What's that? That's the B plus circuit. So even though we've fixed the circuit breaker, or I could have bypassed it, we got another showstopper here because the thermistor is open and the degaussing coil is unplugged, meaning there's no way for the power to get through here. We looked at the thermistor, one leg is broken off. So what I suspect happened is the thermistor failed. They fooled around with trying to fix it, and they gave up. And this probably just oxidized naturally over time. Now it's annoying because this is all the info they give. They just say it's optional. In some versions, that's it. They don't tell you what these part numbers are, what the values are. Yeah, I can look at later sets, and there are replacement kits. Talon Electronics in particular has at least a dozen combination VDR thermistor kits. I can pick a common one, but it'd be nice to know what the actual values are. I put an ohm meter between the leg and the broken off pad and got 120 cold. I heated it up with a soldering iron, it dropped down to about 30 ohms. Which got me thinking, hey, 120 cold, that's what a CL90 is, which is a really common thermistor, which can handle 2 amps. So I'm thinking I'll pop a CL90 in there. So the deal is when the set is cold and you turn it on, this will have a higher resistance and current will flow through the degaussing coil. As this warms up, this drops down to 3 or 4 ohms. The bulk of the current's going to go through the thermistor instead, and this magnetic field will collapse. So that's what we're going to do. So I ordered up a bunch of parts. I just didn't have some of these caps. Like there's a 2 microfarad, I think it's 350 volt cap. I just don't happen to have any on hand. I didn't quite have anything suitable for these that I wanted to use. I want something that's like long life, high ripple current, high temp. So I ordered a couple of those too. Yeah, I could possibly reform the ones I've got, but I figure, well, I got the chassis out and I'm making other repairs. I might as well just take care of a bunch of things. So we're going to resume when these parts arrive in a few days. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.